What's up, guys? Welcome to an episode of Skywars. Today I'm telling you the story of probably the worst 5 months of my life. So, back in 6th grade, right, I wasn't the toughest kid. I just, came in from a pretty chill elementary school, been in, like, one or two small, not even fights, just more like a shoving match where I would run and make the other kids slip and fall in the mud because I was too fast and too quick on my feet, which still that's still a true statement. I am still like that and could still win a fight by doing that. But anyways, it's a lot of people. I got to middle school, and as I said, not the toughest kid. Wasn't really there for when it came to physical strength or anything. And it had already started out as a pretty rough year because I got no classes with my two friends at the time. And that was enough to make me, like, want to quit middle school already. I was like, you know what? I think this whole 6th grade thing, I'm not going to do it. So, yeah, that was not the most, that was not the most welcoming first thing to find out. But then, so we had 7 classes a day, I want to say. At the time, I was still in the gifted program, which, if you don't know what that is, it's like, they say, oh, hey, you seem to show signs of, either a mental disorder of some sort. But I say mental disorder, I mean, like, you see the world differently. So, like, for me, it was, oh god, a combination of things. I've got a lot of things wrong with me that made me see the world differently. But they were like, okay, we're going to put you in the gifted program. So I had math first block, the gifted program second block, third block I had science, fourth, I'm trying to remember. Fourth I had history, or civics, that was it. I had civics, fourth block, and fifth I had gym. Then it was lunch, 6th with art, and 7th was English with the gifted teacher. Would you die? Thank you. But that was my schedule. I don't know why I still remember it, but I do. So the first block, I usually took a nap because I was good at math class and my teacher knew it, so he just didn't care if I slept because I would get it all right anyways. Then, second block, I would actually have to pay attention because we always did, like, big projects and I had to know what I was doing. Third block, I mean, again, I would just kind of, like, breeze through it because it was science. I'm good at science. Fourth block, I paid attention because I actually did like my civics teacher and my civics class. At least I think I did. I can't remember. It was so long ago. And then fifth block was gym, so I kind of had to do stuff. But my favorite thing to do was run on the track, right? Well, one day, we were going to run on the track, and then as we stepped outside, it started pouring down rain. Which, now, mind you, at this time, I lived in Florida. So, like, usually you'd be like, oh, that's good, that's good. After it stopped raining, if you went outside, it would be, like, nice and cool. Not in Florida. Instead, it would be hot. It would be just as hot, but it would be, like, sticky air. Like, walking through soup. It was awful. So, you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here, my guy. So, yeah, we were like, okay, so we're not going outside today. And I was like, okay, fine. If I can't run, then maybe I'll just play basketball. Because this was about 2 months in, and I had started somewhat making friends, and one of them was like, hey, let's go play basketball. And I was like, okay, why not? So, I went to go play basketball. There were 2 courts, all right? So, it was, well, I say 2 courts. It was one full court, but we were playing on each half, right? So it's half-court games, but we were playing on the full court. Now, eventually, the group on the other side was like, we want to play full court. So they took to, try and take over our side. Now, everyone else that was playing with us was like, okay, yeah, you can have it. They just kind of submitted. They obviously didn't want to, but they did. And I don't know when to quit with that kind of stuff, so I said no and just stayed there. Now, mind you, when I say middle school kids are dumb, I mean middle school kids are dumb. So I stayed there. I didn't move. They were not happy. They pushed me away. Gym teacher saw, stopped it, told them to go to their side of the court. So we were chilling. Everything was cool. I had won our side of the court back. We could play, and they could do nothing about it because the gym teacher was watching now. So, flash forward about, I don't know, 30 minutes? Yeah, 30 minutes, because each class period was like 50 minutes long. So, flash forward about 20 minutes. We went to the locker rooms and stuff, and when I get in there, one of the kids that wanted to play full court walks up and just straight up grabs my head and bangs it into a locker. Just like grabs me and shoves me head first into a locker door. Not even like putting me in a locker like the stereotypical stuff. No. It was shut and they just hit me. So I dropped to the floor and my head was like spinning almost, and there wasn't any blood yet as far as I know, but I was like, I dropped to the floor, and thank God. So it is a school where high school and middle school are on the same campus, and there was a high schooler in the locker room that heard the bang and went over to go check what was happening and saw it. So said high schooler went and got the kid away from me, helped me up, and then made sure that I got out of the locker room safe. He told me to start walking to class. I told him which class I was going to, and he was like, okay, I'll meet you there and make sure you're okay. And when I got a teacher, right? Well, I met up with another friend on the way there because I was like, I don't want to walk alone. Middle school kids are crazy. I know what they would do for, that basketball court. And it wasn't until... So, the way the school was, the gym was right across from cafeteria, and to get to the art class, I had to go outside to get to said art class. So I couldn't go through the cafeteria, otherwise this wouldn't have been an issue, because if I had gone through the cafeteria, they could have done nothing about it. There would have been plenty of people watching. I would have been safe. So anyways, the way the school worked, there were 2 lunch shifts. You either had it before 5th block or before 6th block. So leaving the gym, there were 3 ways you could go. You could go to the left, which you weren't allowed to go towards because that was how you got outside. They didn't want kids running away or anything, so you weren't allowed to go to the left. They had a teacher blocking it. Then you had in front of you, which was to the cafeteria, and of the 100-ish kids we had in gym class, about 80 of them had to go to lunch. So there were only about 20 of us left going to the right, which was how you get to all the other classrooms, because you can't go through the cafeteria. So the high schooler that tried to protect me in the locker room went to find a teacher, because he was like, if I'll send the teacher to make sure that you've made it safe and that, you're okay. So I was like, okay, thank you. And I went off and I was like, okay, now let me find a friend, because, I wasn't going to just walk around alone after that. So I went and I found a friend, and so we're walking, and let me paint the picture of the school for you. So the way it works, outside, because it rains a lot in Florida, there are these canopy things, right? So above you, you have like a nice little thing to protect your head from water or whatever, because we might melt. And next to you, there are brick walls that it's about knee high, but still, brick walls. They're a little restrictive. And then on top of that, there are it's just straight up concrete. So, who am I kidding? We get to one of those. They do have intersections in between because you have to be able to leave to go into other areas of the school. But we get to, I think it was the 3rd one, right next to the bus loop. And I'm looking forward to the end of the day because it's been a rough day. And, the school is telling me I can't, the teachers, like the gym teacher that saw, and the teacher that was supposed to go check up on me, are telling me I can't tell anyone because then it's bad for the school. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I can't tell my parents that I, got my head banged into a locker today. That's fine. So we get to that 3rd canopy thing, and as I'm about through it, all of a sudden I feel a fist land right on my temple, like straight on, perfect hit on the temple. and I'm just done. I drop to the floor, ringing in my ears, head throbbing. So I was, you know, just out for the count immediately because all of a sudden I was just hit. There was nothing I could do. I was just down. So a bunch of kids thankfully came to the rescue and made like a shield of sorts around me so that the kid couldn't hit me while I was down. But the teachers did nothing about it. They just kind of watched. And so these kids are like defending me, and they're yelling at the teacher to do something, and the teacher's just kind of watching because what are they going to do? They're going to lose their job if they do anything about it. And if they tell anyone or it goes public, then it gets even worse for them. So all of a sudden we have this issue. I'm on the floor throbbing in pain. So my friend runs away to go get help from someone, literally anyone, and I'm still laying on the floor, but I can't even close my eyes because like I'm not registering what's happening anymore. It's just so much happening. My brain couldn't do anything. I couldn't close my eyes. I couldn't like scream. There was nothing I could do. So I'm looking around, and all I can really see are a bunch of feet shuffling, which are the people that are protecting me and like building a wall around me, and the people that, like, the one person that's trying to get through, and he's like jumping around every side of the shield trying to find an entrance to get to me. And literally all I did was want to play basketball on that's all I did. I just didn't want them to have the full court, because how was that fair that they got to play and we didn't? So I'm like on the ground. They eventually, the kid got off of me, and they just sent me right back to class. They were like, okay, go on back to class now. And I was like, excuse me, but what the hell? So I texted my mom, and I'm like, hey, so just so you know, I just got like, I just got jumped. Yeah, there were this kid, I wanted to play basketball, so he just, you know, absolutely pummeled me. They're telling me not to tell you. They didn't even like bring me to the office to assess me or anything. They just sent me right back to class. And she's like, excuse me, but what? Because, you know, mothers. And just the fact that's you can't do that. But they're like dead set on not letting anyone know, because they already know that their school is crap, and they know that everyone knows it. So they don't want it to look even worse, which in my opinion, this just made it look worse. Like, if you guys had like taken care of it, it would have been okay. You guys could have like regained a little bit of your reputation by taking care of it a little, but no, you tried to hide it. Like, you can't just do that. So my mom gets super angry. She calls the school. She's like, what the hell? Like, why did you do that? Why didn't you tell him that he can't tell you? And I'm like, they call me to the office, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm in trouble now because I actually told them. And they were like, all right, well, since your mom knows, I guess we'll actually do something about it. They had me point out the kid and stuff. And so I'm like pissed, because I'm like, what the heck? You guys only care because my mom knows now. And so I get there, and my mom's like, okay, I'll check him out. We're not going to be coming back for a few days. And they tried to suspend me. So my mom gets there, and she's livid because they didn't want to tell her. And she's like, okay, I'm going to take him to the hospital. We're going to press charges. And we left. So my dad is back at the house, super angry. The only reason my mom didn't bring him is because of how angry he was. She said, wait, and then he can go take care of the rest of it. So my mom took me to the hospital while my dad went back up to the school to see what had happened, because they wanted to make sure that I wasn't like lying or exaggerating anything before they made any decisions about how they were going to handle it. So my dad gets there and watches it. And apparently, not only was I not exaggerating, but I was underplaying the story. There was so much more going on. There were more kids trying to get me, more kids that were about to hit me before that wall had gone up. It was an entire, like, coordinated attack that they had made during gym, I guess, after me saying, no, I want to play basketball, because how dare I want to actually play a game in gym. And so I get to the hospital, and they're like, yeah, you have a nice concussion. You're going to be experiencing headaches for a few weeks. Good luck with that. It's going to be pretty awful for you. And I was like, oh, great. Sure enough, every day, there were at least like 10 times where my head just started like splitting migraine, bro. It was awful. I hated it so much. And the school didn't do anything about it. They just weren't going to do anything. The kid got 1 day of in-school suspension, and I almost got 3 days of out-of-school suspension when I didn't even do anything. I was the one that got attacked, and I was about to get punished. Like, excuse me? So, anyways, fast forward a few months, and we are there for scoliosis screening, because the school was really cool like that. They did scoliosis screening for free. It was great. So we're getting scoliosis screening and stuff, and while we are in the line waiting, I all of a sudden feel like a sharp pain on my head, followed by another headache and another, like, it just feels like another concussion immediately, which it was. The same kid had seen me and picked up a rock, a big rock, and chucked it at my head. It landed directly on my head, right in the soft spot, and instantly, you know, went to the floor. They, again, weren't going to tell my parents, and beyond that, were going to give me more punishment again. So, you know, I text my mom again, and she's like, we're not doing this again. So we talked to the principal, because the dean, up until this point, has been the one handling it. And we talked to the principal, and we're like, all right, you need to do something about this, because the dean, she's not doing anything. In fact, she's doing less to the attacker than the one that's being attacked. So the principal's like, oh yeah, I'll take care of it. The dean is not having a good day at that point, because, you know, the principal's angry, like livid, because she is, you know, not doing anything about it and trying to punish me and stuff, because I wanted to tell my parents, as I should. But, oh my god, I cannot catch a break, bro. Please let me just live. Anyways, so I get to the hospital again, and they're like, oh yeah, you have another concussion, congratulations. And then there's another week of random splitting headaches. But that's not the end of it. So that was strike 2. It just keeps on going, and it keeps on getting worse. So a few months later, we get to, I'm hanging out. I have 2 friends, at least I thought they were friends, and we were hanging out, the 3 of us, in gym. It was close to the end of the semester, so no one really cared. We were all just kind of doing our thing, just hanging out, right? The coaches didn't care what we were doing as long as we were outside, being active. So, you know, that's what we were doing. And we were hanging out by the outside basketball court, which had, like, this fenced-in area thing, which usually had a pond, but for whatever reason, the pond was full of mud at the moment. And so I'm looking at it, and my friend tosses their shoe in. And I'm like, oh, well, how are you going to get that back? The mud is going to just hold that now. And so my friend's like, nah, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. I can get that anytime. And they're like, see, look. And they flip me over, pry the shoe off of my foot, and throw my shoe in the mud, only to find out that they can't get it. I texted my mom after walking to the office in nothing but one shoe and a sock. Like, I had only those 2 things now at that point on my feet. So I was like, okay, Mom, that's the last straw, and we left that school after that. I ended up being homeschooled. It was awful. Moral of the story is, middle school sucks. Anyways, I don't know how long that video was, but if you made it to the end, then congratulations. You should subscribe and leave a like on the video, and, I don't know. Thanks for listening to me talk about how awful my public school experience was.